Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
The podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
Today, we are continuing our travel into Mental Health Awareness Month with one of my little treasures of a comic that I found randomly. It's called The Closet, and this was on our poll, but it was tied with another book. But I loved this book, and I said, John, let's read The Closet. So I had actually read this for a comic book club I'm a part of, and it was, I think, the first thing I ever read of James Tynion's work. He's the guy that did Department of Truth, and a couple other series I really like.
World Tree,
yes, I like that one a lot too. Deviant, that's a good one too. So like a lot of his indie work I like. Before this, I'd only knew him from like DC stuff, and I did not like his mainstream superhero stuff. So this was like the first indie thing I read from him, and I was like, wow, this was really good. And I was pleasantly surprised that when we read it again, like 2 years later, or when I read it again 2 years later, it was just as good. So, like you hadn't heard of this before, right, John?
No, yeah, I hadn't heard of any of the ones on the poll, and I will be honest. The cover for this one was, it's a little unsettling, with the way the word closet is written, and then like the kid sitting in front of the door, like it definitely gives ominous tones. So it was definitely one of the ones I was rooting for. So I'm glad that we went with this, and at least this one was voted on. But yeah, other than that, I didn't know much about it. Other than, like you said, luckily I had read Department of Truth and World Tree with you, so I had a little idea of James Tynion's. Like you said, at least more of his indie writing. And then I don't know if we ever read anything that was it Gavin Fullerton has drawn, but I really liked his art in this. Lots of creepy, dark, seedy. It really sets the tone for the story. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever seen anything drawn by this guy either. So yeah, I really liked his work in this. The monster itself is really creepy. It's kind of alien-esque, but it's like black and it doesn't have any eyes and it's got a big mouth. So it looks like a gray man, but he's all black kind of thing, but small. So, you know what? He looks like the little aliens inside of the Men in Black, like in Men in Black, and the ones that are like look like humans and then they get stabbed through the neck.
Oh yeah,
inside of them they have the little guys.
He looks like that, just like the size of like a toddler.
Yeah, but so The Closet's what we picked out of the two that tied, and this one, it starts off interestingly. Like it starts off with the dad of this family drinking in a bar. He's supposed to be on an errand run to go get packing tape because him and his family are moving to Oregon, and in the next day. And they're not finished packing, and so he's decided to go stop at a bar on the way home because he needs to chill out. He's stressed out from this move and everything. And we get him talking to the bartender. And man, like at first, you think like, am I supposed to feel sorry for this guy? It does seem like he's overwhelmed, stressed out. We learn like, his marriage isn't going great. He just needs to take a little time for himself right now, and then he'll go home, because also every time he goes to pack a box, his wife ends up having to repack it because she says he doesn't do it right. So he might as well just like stay out till she's done packing and then come home with the tape and then finish taping it. And I like this part. The bartender says, well, it's kind of hard to make a box without tape as well. And the dad's like, oh yeah, you're right. And now the dad's name is Thom. Now this was funny. I'm going to point this out because John told me not to. It's spelled Thom, like Tom York from Radiohead. But John had never heard of that spelling before seeing it spelled like that. So he thought the guy's name was Thom the whole time.
I did. I was like, what a dumb name.
What a dumb thing to think, John.
I just didn't put together Thomas being like that shortened. I bet that's probably like the proper like British
it's
way.
It's the British way, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I bet it is. And
yeah, it's like Liam. Like you never realized that Liam was William. Like the shortened version, you know. So
I'm just I'm uneducated American.
There you go. We all are, John. It's fine. But anyway, he's telling the bartender about how his kid is having nightmares, can't go to sleep for the last couple months. And is it months or is it like a year now? I can't remember how long it's been.
I think it's been in a year.
Okay. So yeah, his kid's been having nightmares about this monster in his closet for a year, and he just doesn't understand why like his son can't get over it. His son is 4, by the way, and this is like little things are dropped in this conversation where, you know, he says like, God, like, can't he just get over it and like move on? And he's like, how old's your son? And the dad's like 4, and he's like, like, it's just obvious, like, this is something you're supposed to take care of as a dad, that like to help your 4-year-old overcome this fear. And you're supposed to do it in a understanding and kind way and not complain about it and bitch and do it half-assed. And I like the bartender said this one nice thing where he's like, well, you know what? You should just like get some unicorn piss. That's what I told my niece. I got like a spray bottle and I filled it with water and some lavender scent. And then I came in her room and said, I'm going to spray this unicorn pee everywhere. It's like, you know, unicorns mark their territory and other animals that are bad get scared of it because unicorns are good. So like no monsters can hurt you if you have some unicorn pee around. And so he sprayed it and it smelled nice. And, you know, the kid believed it and that's all that needed to happen. So the bartender gives him a lot of good advice, you know, like, you know, maybe you should take this seriously. Maybe you should do this kind of thing. That would totally work. It worked for my niece. But the whole time, like, you could see the dad doesn't want to hear this. Thom doesn't want any of that. He wants to complain and he wants to hear someone listen, or he just wants someone to listen to it and probably agree and reinforce his complaints. So yeah, now, John, did you have any strong feelings about this initially since you hadn't read it before?
No, yeah, reading it, like you said, I didn't know if we were supposed to feel bad for him, like if, like, you know, marriage is a two-way street, but it, you know, is he actually, you know, a part of the cause here, or, you know, and it's, you know, it definitely starts to sound a little like he is a little something with the way he was talking about his child. But then, yeah, I mean, like, I get it. You know, sometimes people can be like frustrated and like, oh, why can't you just get over it? And
stressed out. You're saying this to a stranger, so you kind of open up more than you normally would, or maybe say things you don't normally want to. Yeah.
So it was hard to tell, you know, where to be on, where to feel for him yet. So yeah, but me personally too, I was like, why, you know, I'm not one of the kind of people that would stop at a bar before like doing something I was asked to do. But, you know, I know some
coffee bar, Sean.
Oh, well, there you go. Never mind. I wouldn't stop to get a beer, but yeah, maybe a coffee. But, so yeah.
So that's you shooting, doing shots of espresso, talking to the barista.
Yeah, you just made a hipster version for me that I now that I feel more with the character.
Well, you know, you're in Washington now, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But you know, the part that I really realized that I hated this guy. So like, I wasn't sure until he gets home. So after he leaves the bar, we saw like a bag full of the tape he's supposed to buy, and we don't, you know, it's not very descriptive art. Like the art is more like shapes and stuff, right? So we don't really see what kind of tape it is. But when he brings it home, and this is, you know, we're packing boxes. And if anyone's ever moved, which I'm sure a lot of you have, you know, the only tape that works really on cardboard boxes is packing tape. And this motherfucker bought masking tape, which doesn't work at all. It just immediately comes off cardboard. And I got so mad. This was the moment I realized this guy's a fucking asshole. And whatever he did, he's wrong. So I stopped caring about him at this moment. I got like, just, he's a useless person at this moment. Like, how dare you buy masking tape in your hour of need? Like, your wife did all the work and you couldn't even get the right kind of tape. And you had the gall to stop and drink 3 beers before driving home. And this guy's a skinny guy. He's definitely over the limit.
Yeah,
driving drunk.
And she says she can smell him when he comes in, so he wasn't like careful with like not having on his breath or clothes. So
yeah,
like,
and he tried to lie to her. He's like, "Oh, the first store was out of tape," and she's like, "Really? I can totally smell beer on your breath." So yeah, and then there's like, there's this thing that the dad does all the time through this comic. Is the son comes out? We had seen him in his room get a little like teddy bear that was packed because he's scared because the closet door's open, and he comes out and he says, "Dad, like, I'm scared. Can you sleep with me tonight?" And the dad's like, "Oh no, sorry, we got to finish packing, but I'll sleep with you every night while we're traveling because we're going to be driving there and staying in hotels and stuff. So I'll sleep with you in the same bed every night. I promise." This dude is the fucking worst dad ever. Never keeps a promise in this whole comic. This is one of my like most hated dads, I'll say, in anything. And you know what's worse? It's not even that he's like I'd take the dad, there's like the dad from like American Beauty, like Chris Cooper or something, right? Or that's just like an asshole, or like where they're like mean and they yell or they hit or whatever. Those are bad, right? But this guy is like slimy. He's just like a weak ass bitch, and he can't even like just like say the truth ever. And then he hides behind like his inadequacy, and then just wants you to feel sorry for him. I hate this guy. He is up there with like top people I hate in any kind of medium.
Yeah,
I don't know if you feel the same way, but
we see as we go along, he wants to complain and he wants someone to feel sorry for him. And yeah, I don't know. I can't do that. There's a difference between empathizing with someone who's actually going through something, but then like when all the problems that are being caused are pretty much your fault, you're the reason that they're happening, and you're not going to look introspectively at all. Like there's nothing I can do for you, man. Like you're kind of a piece of crap.
Yeah. And like all he needs to do is go like, well, all he needed to do was buy the right tape, help his wife pack, and then he could have slept with his son tonight and the kid wouldn't have had nightmares or whatever. But he couldn't do that. He wanted to go drink, and he wanted to complain, and he wanted to buy the wrong tape, and he didn't want to help.
I mean, he half-assed everything. Even so, like here, he's gonna the kid's like scared or whatever, and he's like thinks back to the bartender, like, "Oh, unicorn piss," and he half-asses it.
Yeah, he fills up a glass in front of the child, and it's like, then turns around and is like, "It's unicorn pee. Bad things hate unicorn pee." He's like, "It's a glass of water, Dad. I saw you fill it up." And he's like, "No, it's unicorn pee. I promise it is." Once again, another promise. The kid knows his dad is full of shit. And yeah. So the dad tries like this half-assed version of the unicorn pee thing. Doesn't work because the kid saw him fill it up with water. So he knows it's just water. Like you have to, actually make it seem like it works kind of thing. He does go to like put the kid to bed, and the kid's name was Jamie. So Thom goes to put Jamie to bed, and he does like turn the light on in the closet, leaves it on so the kid can see inside. But then as they leave, or as he leaves the room, he continues the fight that he was having with his wife, especially once his wife sees he bought masking tape, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Which, yes, that wife is a saint. She's stayed with him for far too long and given him many chances to, make up for what we find out what he did later. So, and he is just a complete loser asshole. So she needs to leave him. But anyway, The kid's tired. He's starting to fall asleep. He's looking at the closet with the light on. And as, he hears the yelling in the room next door, he sees a little black monster appear in the closet staring at him. And then it stands up and it walks out towards him. And it's got this creepy fucking mouth. And, oh man, it's almost like it's like a little chibi version of, that monster in the, like Pan's like it's a Pan's Labyrinth monster. It's like something from that, but it's all black and it's got like a big round head. And yeah, it's just creepy. And it like sits over him. And even like later on, it like sits on his chest and stuff. Like it's just really messed up. So, but he does, he starts crying. He closes his eyes and then he doesn't hear it anymore. And then he opens his eyes and it's gone. And then he looks at the wall and there's no more closet. And he's like, wait, what? Like where'd the closet go? And so he gets up and he tries to feel. And then he turns around and he sees the closet doorway above his bed. So like the monster opened like a doorway to another dimension. But it turns around and looks at him at the last minute. And it's like the kid knows it's going to follow him. It's not just this closet. It's any closet or anywhere that's in his room. It can find him. It's kind of like a fucked up version of Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. His dad's like, this, don't worry, we're moving. So, even this is the last time you're going to see this closet. Well,
yeah, he's like, that closet's going to be away. And also the room that he's moving to doesn't have a closet. So it'll be fine. And that's like his whole reasoning for like not giving a fuck. Because like the mom's like, why didn't you call the therapist that I told you to call so we could work on this? He's like, well, we're moving in like 3 months. What, are we going to like pay money to help our child? Why would we do that? We're moving. It's like, God, I fucking hate this dad. I really, really don't like this dad, but just traumatizing his child and not giving a fuck about it. That's the thing. Like, just zero care. Like, but he pretends to care. He does like this thing where he looks sad all the time and it looks like he's caring, but he doesn't do any of the actions that would show he's caring, He's one of those like, I tell you I love you and then I never show you I love you, I never do anything for you, but I tell you constantly like you're important to me. So yeah, this is just one of the worst people ever. Then we cut to, then we go to the issue 2, right? Issue 1 ends with like the kid crying and then him going to sleep in their bed for that night. Then issue 2 starts. Turns out the mom, who's also the breadwinner, I should say, she's moving to Portland to get for a job that's like good, and he is like a stay-at-home dad. So this fucker, there's no reason why she should be with this guy, but there's nothing wrong with stay-at-home dads, but this guy is a shitty stay-at-home dad. But he's like, oh, I don't want to fly out. I think it would be fun to drive cross country. And mainly it's because he just wants to not be around her. It's like time for him to be by himself.
Yeah, get quote unquote space again. And it's like, really, dude?
Yeah, be by himself, except he's not by himself. He's with his kid. And it starts off with his kid looking out the side window crying. And the dad says, I'm sorry, bud. I didn't mean to get upset. So, he just yelled at him for some reason. And, oh, man. I hate this dad. Like, honestly, is infuriating, this comic. This guy is such a smarmy asshole. But, yeah, he's yelling at his kid on this drive. The kid didn't want to go on the drive. He just wants to go with his mom or whatever, to get to Portland. And, like, they're driving through the woods, and I assume they live on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, I think they said, it might have been New York or something like that.
Yeah, New Jersey, New York, something like that. And then he's driving cross country. So they're driving through woods in the early morning, and the kid's like, is this Portland yet? Because he's 4. And, the classic, like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? It's like that, but, he's 4, so he doesn't know. And the dad's like, no, it's a couple more days till we get to Portland. And they're on their way, I guess, to like his friend's house, one of his old friends who used to live in New York but moved out into like the middle of America, and now he hasn't seen him for a while. But he hasn't talked to him for a while either, because once again, this guy's a shitty person, shitty friend. He says you mean a lot to him, but he can't pick up the phone to call you or anything. So yeah, like he meets his friend who's named Mac at his house, and this is like first thing he does. Tom's like, "Oh, hey Mac, how's it going?" They give each other a hug, and Mac's like, "Oh, you're 3 hours late, but like no problem. Like we still got some dinner. Like I said, we were gonna make. My wife made dinner for you, and I waited to eat for you." And Tom's like, "Oh, we got some McDonald's like a couple minutes ago, like a couple miles back, but so I'm pretty good." And then like the friend's like, "Oh, well, I guess I'll just heat mine up. I guess I'll just eat alone." Yeah, it was just like little things that he does. He just shows he doesn't care about people. And then, the kicker. So like the kid's like, "I'm tired." Or I guess this is like after, he's driven all day long. So the kid's like, "I'm tired," and then he's supposed to go to bed. And then Tom's like, "Oh, let me get your stuff." And he looks in his car and he's like, "Fuck, I forgot to pack his things." So he doesn't have anything for the kid. He doesn't have any pajamas, toothbrush, any of that shit. Didn't think to check before he left with the car with his child. And his friend even points it out, and he's like, "Jesus, Tom, like, what the fuck, man?" And he doesn't even have kids. His friend does not have kids. And even he's like, "Are you serious? Like, this is ridiculous." So, yeah. Anyway, you can tell Mac knows something's up with him and just sees, like, how he's not treating his kid right. Mac himself has, some Legos and stuff, because he says he likes to get high. And I assume they're in, like, Colorado or something. Because he likes to get high and then play with Legos. So yeah, like Tom and Mac are like eating and going to catch up, and then the kid's playing with Legos, and then it's time for the kid to go to bed, and the kid's like, "Well, you said you were going to sleep with me, right? Like you're going to stay with me?" And Tom's like, "Oh, maybe next time, buddy. Like I'm going to hang out with Mac tonight while you're in bed." And he's like, "I'm scared." He's like, "It's fine. That monster was all the way back in New York. No way he's going to make it here."
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. But the kid knows that monster's following him. So then we cut to Mac and Tom outside, and literally Mac is doing the thing that friends should do. And it's like, what the fuck, man? Like pause, truth time. What the fuck is wrong with you? And we learned a lot about the history of like what happened to this kind of friend group, and then also what happened with Tom, and like what started their marriage problems. And you learn from Tom, he even says, "There was nothing wrong with our marriage. It was great. Then I started hanging out with this girl named Maggie," right? Maggie? Is that? No, Maggie's the wife.
Maggie's the wife, yeah.
I don't remember what the woman's name was, but either way, he starts hanging out with some other woman, and then it becomes a thing. Megan, that's her name, Megan. So he starts hanging out with Megan, and they start actually dating or like having an affair, emotional affair, possibly, but it could have been a physical affair. We don't know how serious it was.
We don't know. We just know that he's hanging out with her, not telling his wife. Like, it's different if like there's a friend and you're like, "Hey, I made this friend. You have a strong relationship. I'm telling you about this. We're hanging out." Cool.
But even like, you want to go hang out with her, or I could hang out with her, but you're telling your wife what's going on.
Yeah. In this case, it's like you're saying you're probably doing something else, and then you're going and hanging out with another woman.
Yeah, at a bar, getting drinks.
Yeah.
Going out on dates, basically. Yeah. Spending money on her. So, yeah, not spending time with your wife, spending time and money on another woman. And also, the baby she was still the person going to work, and this was a couple of years ago or whatever. So it was like,
Yeah, it's been 2 years. So the kid was two.
Kid was two.
Terrible twos.
Yeah, not a good time. for her either. She's probably dealing with the kid and everything and just wants to come home and like have him take care of everything and not have to worry about it like he should. And yeah, he's just complaining about like he doesn't even know why he did it. He just felt like it was nice having someone who was attracted to him, who paid attention to him, who liked him, blah blah blah. And yeah, Mac has to be like, what the fuck? Because apparently, he had all these pictures because she would take like Polaroids of herself, not nude or anything that we saw, but just there was pictures and tapes. She would make mixtapes for him, and he was supposed to have thrown all that out after he got caught, and they did therapy and stuff and went to marriage counseling, and he didn't. He kept it in a shoebox and he kept it in his son's closet. Now you might, from that, guess what started the monster for this kid, but probably the fighting of the parents, and then just in general, like the concept of this thing in the closet that they're arguing about is kind of what they're alluding to, is like where this monster kind of originated from. So the friend is telling him like, dude, you're fucked up. Like, you stopped calling all of us. You're being a dick to your kid and your wife. He's trying to be like truth time. And somehow Thom recovers. And he says, like all that shit I just said, it was just me venting. I don't actually think like that. You're right. You're totally on point to tell me like I'm fucked up or whatever. And I'm taking it to heart. So he's just bullshitting his friend. And his friend's like, okay, well, I'm glad you hear me, and I'm glad you can take this like a man. And if you screw this up in Portland, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And he's like, I'll hold you to that, buddy. But he's fucking lying because he never once changes his like actions or anything. Then we cut to the boy in the room, the guest room of Mac's house, and he's looking up at the ceiling, and the closet door has appeared on the ceiling, and he's looking up at it, and it's opening. And I thought this one would have terrified me as a kid if this happened. Like, the monster's kind of floating down towards him. He throws his little bat, teddy bats, I guess we'll call it, at the monster, and it just bounces off and doesn't do anything. And he tries to run away, and he runs out of the room and looks out the glass door window, and he sees his dad and Mac, but he hears the like footprints of the monster behind him, and he's crying and he's yelling, and neither of them are like turning and seeing him, and it's like he can't scream, like his voice won't come, so it's almost like the monster's stopping him from talking, and yeah, it's like it's silencing him or something. And then the last page of this issue is the monster dragging him back into the room. Terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. I love this. This was my favorite part of the thing. Yeah, him floating down, him running away from it, and then it just like slowly like following him. And I love like you said, he's trying to scream, and it's like he can't, or the monster maybe is somehow doing it to him, because it has the bubbles where it would be like to yell daddy, but nothing's in the bubble, and it's just it was so well done and paced. And then like there's like that. He sees them out by the little fire outside. It has one panel in between where they have the end of their conversation, and then that last panel to go back and see the monster pulling him like by his feet back into the room. Superb. I just absolutely terrifying.
And then we get issue 3, and issue 3's cover is fucking scary to me. It's got the head of the alien peeking through like the open closet door that's lit from behind. But the face of the alien now has like the eyes and glasses of the dad, and it's smiling with that alien mouth, and it looks very creepy. I don't know. Did you think that one was a good cover?
Oh yeah, when it turned and I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, okay. This obviously there's the not like we couldn't figure it out, but like the connection to the dad and stuff is obviously the main thing we're coming up to. So yeah.
So issue 3 starts. We're in a motel parking lot because he's left Mac's house and he's finishing up their road trip. Probably like this is the last night they're going to be on their own. And the kid is nowhere in sight. So once again, this dad has left his child alone to sleep, even though he said he would sleep with him every night to keep him safe and make the kid feel safe. But he's decided to go smoke out in the parking lot and drink a 6-pack. So as he's sitting out there, one of the other people that are staying at the motel comes up and says, "Oh, can I borrow a cigarette?" and starts smoking with him. And, you know, normally when that happens, you start small talk. But Thom just starts talking about himself pretty much and doesn't ask this guy any questions. It's like a motif of this guy. Like, this guy's listening and he's like, well, you would know something about me if you asked something, you know? It's like, if you just asked my name or what I'm doing here, or, you know. So and the thing is, like, everybody that's talking to Thom is giving him like good advice. You know, he's telling, once again, we have kind of like the same as the bartender scene where this guy's like, "Oh, like, how old is your boy?" He says, Thom tells him he's scared of this monster in the closet and he just won't get over it. And the guy's like, "Oh, how old is your boy?" And Tom's like, "Oh, he's 4." And he's like, 4? Yeah, motherfucker, he's going to be scared of the dark or a closet monster or whatever. Like, why are you acting like he's like 12 or 15 having this problem? You know, like, he's too old for it. He's not. You're supposed to be
a little kid.
Dad. Yeah. So, you know, and he tells, like, this guy's like, "Oh, like, I had a good road trip with my dad, and I remember seeing a ball of twine and thinking it was boring, but now I look back on it as a kid or as an adult and think, oh, that was fun time with my dad." But none of that is being had in their road trip. There's no fun thing. You know, if anything, we've seen him yell at his child and made him cry in the car. Didn't bring any like clothes or any amenities for his kid. His kid doesn't have like books or tapes or anything to listen to either. I don't know what year this is supposed to be. I don't see cell phones or anything. So this might be like before that stuff. But still, like,
so nothing to keep the child entertained but his tape.
Yeah, just driving on the road. And I'm like, well, I had a Game Boy at least when I was when I would do road trips with my parents or grandparents. So yeah, like, just the shittiest dad. So yeah, from this conversation, I think we also learn like that whole the story of, so he kept the pictures and everything in the kid's closet because that's the place he thought, you know, Maggie wouldn't look in. And so one night he was rummaging around, his kid was asleep. He was rummaging around in there looking at the photos and little mixtapes she made him.
Fucking reminiscing. Yeah,
reminiscing about like this relationship he had, smiling about it and everything. The kid wakes up because he hears a noise and he sees his dad like crouched down in this closet, but the light's on. So his dad's kind of like in shadow silhouettes, but the light's like in the closet. And that's where the monster came from, because it kind of looks like, you know, if you're a kid and you don't know what you're seeing, his mind just turned it into a short little big-headed monster. But it was his dad's silhouette. And of course he screams, and then the dad's there and is like, "Oh, it's okay, you know, it's fine. There's no monster." Then the mom, of course, woke up and she's like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, why are you in here?" And Tom's like, "Oh, our kid had a nightmare. You know, Jamie was scared, so I'm in here." Then she looks over and sees this box that he had set down in the closet, you know, because the closet door's still open, and he sees the picture of Megan, or she sees the picture of Megan and is like, "What the fuck? You said you threw these out." And I'm assuming they had a big fight that night, causing more problems. And, you know, that just solidified everything. The kids saw that monster. It's all tied to this, like, their shitty marriage and arguing and all this stuff. So, yeah. This, you know, stranger in the parking lot basically tells him, "That's fucked up, man. You're like, you need to, like, really evaluate yourself, you know. There's no such thing as fresh starts." Like, because that's the thing, like, the dad keeps saying, "We just need to get to Oregon. Once we get to Oregon, everything will be fine. There's no closets. We can forget about New York and the shitty affair I had, and, you know, I'm sure everything will be fine there." But the guy that he's talking to is telling him, like, it doesn't work like that. Like, you have to physically do the work to put that stuff behind you and, like, become a better person and work on yourself and your marriage and that kind of thing. So so then he leaves the guy, and like Thom is just like, fuck.
And the nod he leaves him as he's leaving is fucking, it hit me bad too, because he's like, yeah, man, you gotta work work through it. You can't just let it stay there in the back metastasizing like a cancer, which is a subject I would know a lot about if you had asked.
And then Tom's like, I'm sorry. So yeah, it's just he talked the whole time.
Crap.
Yeah, he just is a complainer, and I hate people that just complain. You give them advice, they don't do it. They never change, and they just keep complaining. And this is one of those guys. I'm just like, man. Not only that, but he's like a shitty person too. On top of that, so it's like it's not just the oh, you're kind of affecting your own life and your own psyche. You're giving yourself issues, but he's affecting his kid, his wife, pretty much everybody he knows, and he thinks he's the victim. Oh man, really, really hate this guy. So this is my favorite part. This is one of the parts that just hits me the most. He spent all that time complaining about everything outside. He comes into the room with his son. He's got 2 beds. His son is in one. He goes to the other one, even though he said he would sleep next to his son. And when he sits down, he doesn't see what his son is seeing, but his son is basically having, what's it called? When someone's sitting on your chest at night?
Kind of like sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. It's basically sleep paralysis. The monster is on the kid's arms, pinning him down, choking him. And he's trying to say daddy, but he can kind of just barely whisper it. He's crying. And the dad just not paying attention, sits in his bed, back facing the kid, then continuing with his back facing the kid, goes, gets in the bed under the covers, and he's saying daddy. And Thom is just just go to bed, Jamie. We have a long drive tomorrow. I'm like, motherfucker. This is creepy to me. This little monster sitting on your chest, choking you, and your dad is not even giving a fuck, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, had he looked over, he not only see the monster, but you at least see him crying and be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, he didn't even bother to look. He just rolled away from the kid. It was oh my God, I hate this guy. And then the next morning, they're almost to Portland, and once again, the kid is crying in the car because he yelled at him again in the car. And the kid's wearing the same clothes he's worn for the whole week or whatever they've been driving. And so they, through all of these cities and places they've gone, never once did he think, I'm going to stop at a Walmart, buy my kid some new clothes, a toothbrush, a toy, something. Never once. I hate this guy. Have I said I hate this guy? Yeah, so they get to the new house in Portland. The kid's immediately yay, mommy. I miss you so much. Then, he finds out, or she finds out that there was no suitcase for him. And then also it turns out she didn't take there was no suitcase that was in the container that they sent or whatever. So he just totally just left the bag in the apartment or whatever they moved out of. So it wasn't even that he didn't see it because it was gone.
Yeah.
It was she just didn't get it.
And she only learned about it because she happened to talk to Mac and said that Mac had said that he didn't have his bag with him. So he didn't even tell the mom that he forgot or that he was going to pick up something on the way later or like that.
And she was you didn't pick up anything? He's oh, I didn't even think about it. Oh, and so of course this starts a fight in the new house immediately as he gets there. And then we see the kid up at the top of the stairs because he had just gone to his room to look at it. And so he goes in his room and he's kind of opening the door and he sees the closet there. Even though there's no closet in that room, he sees the same closet door because it's got some stars and a moon on it. So it's the same one from New York. And then he sees the alien hand come out. And that's it. That's the end of it. So it hasn't gone away. It's traveled with them because the monster is not real. It is the shitty dad and his shitty fathering and all the shittiness he's brought to that marriage and that family. He's the monster.
When the dad is the monster in your life.
Yes. And that, my friend, is the end. So, John, what would you give it and what'd you think?
I liked it a lot. Is hard as it was to
heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Yeah. The end, especially, where you just see the kid crying and he's staring at the closet and the little hand comes out. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
Yeah. I gotta say, again, the art was really set the tone in all of those spots with the kid, and it just made it really that much more impactful of what was going on. And I like the way that they used it, like the dad crouching down, like that image is what caused this. To look at some girlfriend that he's cheating on his wife with, like it's absolutely terrible. Piece of shit dad, and he's causing problems not only in his marriage but with his kid, and it was put in a really very, very cool way in the comic, despite it being such a, like I said, horrible story. But I enjoyed it. Like it was a good read, and definitely, like I would totally recommend that for someone to short, interesting story about maybe some childhood trauma or some horrible situation, and like how to not do something.
Yeah, how to not be a shitty dad is what this book
read this. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would give it a 9.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give this a 9 too. I mean it, for how short it is, how simple it is, it's very effective to me, at least. Like when I read this, I just felt everything you're supposed to feel, or that I feel like you wanted to get across. Just, and the way that he does it, like the way it's from the dad's point of view, because we're following him. It's like he's the main character. So usually that's the protagonist and you're kind of on his side. And, that's why at the beginning, you don't know if, are we just hearing his kind of, his side of the story, but he's still the good guy or whatever. He's having a hard time with his marriage and kid, but he's not a bad guy. But then, like I said, immediately you start picking up on things, and the more he opens his fucking mouth, the more you hate this guy. And especially for buying masking tape. That was a bridge too far for me, So I think 9 is a good solid rating for both of us on this one. I highly recommend it. I really want this to come out in like a nice oversized hardcover, but I doubt it will. So I might just have to buy the soft cover of it. But like this is one of my favorite reads of the last couple of years. And it's Mental Health Awareness Month, so it was just kind of like don't do this to your kids. Like don't fuck your kids up like this. Just be a better person. Try harder or something, or at least leave them so they're not traumatized. Do better. Yeah, do better, and also, or just leave them. Call it quits. Don't stick around to fuck their lives up more. Be a man. Call it quits. But I think to do that, you have to acknowledge that you are a piece of shit and you're the problem. And I don't think he's capable of doing that because he blames everybody else. So anyway, so that wraps up our Patreon voted episode. But we do have an exclusive for this month. We're going to read Monsters by Barry Windsor Smith. This book came out, I think 4 years ago now, or 5 years ago, 2020, I think it came out. And it is one of the saddest, most hard-hitting, messed up graphic novels I've read in a long time. It is on the bigger side. It's like 380 pages or something like that. So it's a hefty boy. So we're going to do it on the exclusive episode. And it is, I can't wait for John to read it. This book, I mean, I had to take breaks. It was so heavy. I cried a couple times. It was very emotional. It's like on the level of like Mouse as far as like work, but it's not a true story. So I think that's the only difference. Is like it's just as hard hitting. It hits a lot of similar topics and other things, but it from a different point of view. Well, I'll say, and but it's not true. So it doesn't have that edge to it that like Mouse or something like that had. But But it definitely is heavy as fuck. So can't wait to discuss that with you next time. And then next month we're doing Pride Month again, like always. So we got some books picked out for you guys there. And of course, there'll be a poll like always. So if you guys would like to join the Patreon to be able to vote on those episodes or get the exclusive, you can join at patreon.com/planes, trains, and comic books, all one word, at gmail.com. And with that, I think we'll see you guys on the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.